Honorable judges and fellow debaters, this is the affirmative side speaking. The side strongly agrees that Taiwan should rely on unconditional basic income, and I would first like to define it. Unconditional basic income is a policy in which all citizens regularly receive an income in the form of an unconditional payment. First of all, the core of our argument is the purpose of our society is for people to help each other, to diversify risks so that people have the capacity to deal with unexpected disasters, and also to preserve the rights such as the rights humans are born with. In short, society is for people to live better lives. However, our society is failing to achieve the above purpose for several reasons. First, the social welfare system in Taiwan requires citizens to apply for subsidies. In other words, people have to prove their incapability. According to the University of York, subjects identify the welfare system as demeaning and degrading. Plus, application means that there will be citizens not knowing how to apply for it. With UBI, there are no criteria to determine whether one can receive it, so the welfare stigma will be gone and everyone in need will be helped. Second problem is that the social welfare system is excluding the homeless. They cannot receive low-income subsidies and unemployment compensation or other welfare. An experiment in London has shown that by implementing UBI, 70% of them had accommodation. Some took out training classes and some saw their families again. And the total cost was just 50,000 euros, which is a significant financial saving given that they had cost the state 400,000 euros so far. Not only did this experiment empower them to believe they can truly move off the street, but it also saved money. The third problem is the wealth gap. In Taiwan, the wealth held by the top 1% of rich people reached 28%, ranking second in Asia. With UBI, it can reduce 38% of low-income households, and it does not even include the subsequent benefits such as the improvement of academic performance. Another benefit of UBI is that it improves people's mental health according to experiments conducted by Finland and Korea. Moreover, subjects were more willing to advance their academic degrees or invest in themselves. When they are considering career options, payment won't be their priority factor. This indicates that UBI allows people to live a better life and do things they really want to do. Moreover, when a household receives UBI, they demonstrate better health condition and academic performance. Improving one's academic performance can solve their problem from the root, given that nowadays educational background is highly related to one's income. Lastly, in 2008, the Taiwanese labor union of factory went on strike. Some employees could not bear the unpaid state of strike and compromise. As a result, the strike ended early and could not put effective pressure on the management. With UBI, laborers will have more bargaining chips with their boss to assure their working environment. Plus, the varying society is causing structural unemployment. In 2016, Foxconn replaced 60,000 laborers with robots. The era of automation is coming, and UBI protects people from losing all their income. In conclusion, UBI is serving as a social security net to assure everyone's basic living and allows everyone to do the things they want. It empowers people with a capacity to deal over the inevitable risks in their lives. Anyone, when any accident happens, there will always be a protection for them to get over it. In short, UBI can be considered a form of human rights insurance. Thank you.
Okay. My time will start now. Greetings. UBI is an idea that proposes to provide a fixed amount of money to every individual, regardless of their income or employment status. Although it sounds appealing at first glance, we believe that there are several reasons why we should be cautious about UBI. Implementing a UBI will cause the following problems. First, it is inefficient to pay the wealthy as the money they receive makes no difference. UBI proposes to give the same amount of money to every individual, regardless of their financial situation, meaning that the wealthy would receive the same amount of money as those who are struggling to make ends meet. Make a little sense. This Constitution Review number 485 also states that due to the limited resources that government holds Efficiency should be prioritized when it comes to distribution. Hence, it concluded that the government should not overprotect people with sufficient ability to survive. Granting UBI to people with sufficient money is a waste of government resources that could be better utilized for other purposes, such as healthcare and education. Second, the injection of originally static money into the society would cause inflation due to the increased velocity the currency circulates in the free markets. According to Investovia, inflation occurs when the increase in money circulating in an economy is higher than the increase in goods produced. With the increase of capital in the lower social classes, money originally spent on luxuries and stocks instead raises the demand for livelihood goods. With the rise of demand without the rise of supply, prices grow, causing inflation, said the Reserve Bank of Australia. This will lead to wages being valued lower than previously expected. What's more, according to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, the current lowest living cost for every person per month is $12,000 to $19,000 NZD per month. So with inflation caused by UBI, the money the poor receive furthermore decreases in value, making it impossible for people in need to reach the basic living standard. Thirdly, implementing UBI would require a significant amount of funding, which may not be feasible for the government. UBI proposes to provide every individual with a fixed amount of money, which means that the government would have to find the funds to support it. With the current economic situation, where many countries are facing financial challenges, it would be difficult to find the necessary funds to implement UBI with increasing taxes significantly or cutting other essential services. Lastly, with UBI being funded by progressive taxation, the current rich will have to contribute more than the poor, which could lead to a situation where a wealthy individual decides to leave the country to avoid being exploited. Take France as example. According to the Guardians, the French government imposed a 75% rate on earnings above €1 million, but most French taxpayers disapproved of the 75% rate. France's richest man, Bernard Arnault, the chief executive of luxury group LVMH, took out a Belgian nationality, and the actor Bernard Depardieu also moved across the border to Belgium before obtaining Russian citizenship. The surtax clearly damaged France's reputation and competitiveness. George Stechman, the head of the executive search firm Kennedy Executive, says, "It clearly has become harder to attract international senior managers to come to France than it was. This could be detrimental to the country's economy, as the rich are usually job creators and investors who contribute to the country's growth." In conclusion, while UBI may sound appealing as a social welfare policy, we should be cautious about its implementation. The potential for wealthy individuals to move out of the country, the unfairness of paying the wealthy, and the lack of funds needed to support it are all the reason why we should rethink UBI. So there's some time left, and I'll ask a few questions. So listening to the first constructive, they didn't really say how they will get the money. So I want to know how you will get your money, how the funds is going to get in the following section, in the following round. And you said that the wealth gap right now is really high, but if you implemented UBI, the wealth gap, okay. Thank you.
So we'll crossfire first round, 3 minutes. Do you need prep time, or you can just go? Do you need prep time? Okay, so it's not a must. You can choose not to use it. So do you want to use it? Okay, so tell me when to stop. Just tell me when to stop.
Okay. You asked the question first.
Do you have any evidence to prove that there will be inflation to harmful people?
Okay. So so as mentioned, if you implement a UBI, it will cause the rise of demand, and the rise of demand, the velocity of money into the economy will lead to a inflation. So that's really clear.
No, he is the only one who can speak.
Okay, so far.
But you know Okay, so next question. Do you agree that if Taiwan reforms its tax rate, we will get the budget?
That will depend on how you get, like how you're going to implement your UBI. So your fund will get from taxation, you then mentioned in constructed. So how do we get your fund?
By gradually increase the tax rate and abolishing some of the financial social welfare policies.
Increase the tax rate and abolish some of the current stuff, or
Gradually
gradually decrease. So how much are you going to increase?
How much?
Or you're going to increase double, or you're going to increase 20%?
We're going to use the 1.5% of the wealth tax from those, yeah, and
How do you sure that is enough?
because we have researched that.
So if you implement UBI, how many money are you going to give it to per person, to a person per month? Good. Oh yes. Per month. So like you're gonna give $10,000 for a dollar a month, or you're gonna $15,000. So you're not really sure about how many money you're gonna give to everybody. So so you're not really sure, and you're not really sure if your fundings are enough for implementing a UBI. So it's my turn to ask a question. So you have three arguments, and one is that you said that the current system excludes homeless people, right? The current social welfare system, this current low-income subsidies.
Yes.
Okay, so can I see the evidence? Because I'm not really sure. Because right now we identify someone who was capable of, who was allowed to receive the low-income subsidies. It depends on their wage per person, per household person. So I'm not sure if homeless people are the one who's not getting the fund.
No extra time.
Okay.
So, side pro, rebuttal.
Okay, my time will start now. Honorable judges and fellow debaters, this is the negative side, this is the affirmative side speaking. So first, to clarify, the money we anticipate to give to every month is about $10,000, and $10,000 to those above 18, and $5,000 to those below 18. So for this, the budget will be about 3 trillion, and I would like to further clarify the details of how the budget will come from. So the current total tax revenue as a percentage of GDP is 13% in Taiwan, and the average of OECD countries is 26%. So the budget might come from the gradual tax reform, such as establishing a wealth tax. So if we are trying to collect 3 trillion as an additional tax, then we have to increase our tax revenue to 30%. So the budget will come from wealth tax. The budget will come from wealth tax. And wealth tax is an idea proposed by economist Piketty. It charges people tax for owning stocks, bonds, movable property, real assets, and etc. So by gradually implementing UBI, it allows the government to adjust the tax policy step by step. And the opponents have some questions about whether the rich will to invest in other countries. And in wealth tax, there's a convention called CRS, which is about 50 countries or above has signed up. So if the rich in Taiwan invest their funds into other countries, the funds will still be charged tax by Taiwanese government. So it doesn't matter if they invest the funds to other countries. And also mentioned that the UBI will cause inflation. However, UBI is only taking money from the rich and giving it to the poor. It will not increase the amount of money in the markets. And also, a lot of policies such as universal health insurance or armed purchase have the potential risk of causing inflation. So the point is not to avoid policy that might cause inflation. It's about controlling it. So by gradually implementing this policy, the government will have the time to deal with it. And also, the opponents, when doing a crossfire, they only cited that they show us the evidence card, say that, oh, this will cause inflation, but they didn't explain why. How precisely is the content saying that the inflation will take place? They did not give us the evidence card, so we are not sure about whether they are just reading and processing it in a different way. So, and they also say that the money should be distributed in a more efficient way. And they say that the money of UBI will be given to the rich. But as we just mentioned, the tax rate, increasing the tax rate means that the rich will have to, the rich, if they receive UBI, then the money they receive will be taken back because of the tax rate. So it's actually using this approach is actually make sure that everyone in need is receiving UBI. So it's fine for us to give some money to the rich because eventually the money will be taken back. Thank you.
We want to use a bit per time.
Tell me to stop.
Okay.
My time starts now. So first thing first, how do they get money? They say that they want to implement something called wealth tax, and they say that Taiwan's tax rate is now 30%, and they want to make it into like 36%. So, but now we have an evidence saying that Taiwan's current tax is only 3 trillion, but they say they need 3 trillion to implement UBI for everyone. So by turning the tax rates from 30% to 36%, it is obvious that we will not acquire enough money to do UBI. And besides, they also said that they can abolish welfare to get money for UBI. But when you abolish welfare, like health care and stuff, then those poor people, they actually need to spend more money into health when they actually get sick or stuff. So that makes, and the poor, because they have less money, then they are more vulnerable to getting sick and committing crime. So if you get all this welfare out, then they might end up poorer than they were. Okay, so the main conjectures, the affirmative side says, the first thing, they say that a lot of people don't know how to apply for low-income subsidies. Then why can't we spread the information with some money and tell everybody how to apply it so that we can make sure that everybody who wants to apply it can apply it. The second thing is that the low-income subsidies excludes the homeless, but I'm not very sure why the low-income subsidies excludes the homeless, and they haven't provided us evidence, so I cannot know why, and I don't know if it does. The third thing is the wealth gap. The wealth gap, by implementing a UBI, everybody just gets the same amount of money, so I'm not sure how it solves the wealth gap. Besides, even if you say you tax the rich more, it's still not enough to solve the wealth gap, because the amount of money you tax from the rich is still a little bit compared to all the money the rich has. And then you said like people with UBI will go get like better mental health and better degrees, but why can't we do this by putting welfares into like healthcare so that these doctors can solve their mental health? And because not all mental health will be solved just by giving money, like there's like depression issues and OCD issues. Then we have to put money into the healthcare instead of giving them UBI. And also degrees. Why can't we put the money into education instead of putting UBI? Because obviously not everybody wants to get a degree, so if we put it in the education, it's more efficient. And the fifth thing is that they say if we give UBI, strike cannot continue. But if the strikes continue and the employers are not willing to negotiate, then we will not have money. And if we don't have money, we cannot tax them. And if we cannot tax them, we won't have the money to give UBI. So back to our points, the affirmative side say that it's inefficient because it's efficient because the rich people's money gets taken back. But if we have the same amount of money, why can't we just not give it back to the rich and just use that money we give back to the rich into other social welfares and such as health and education and stuff like that? why do we have to give the rich the money back? If we both tax the same amount, we can more efficiently use it in other fields. The second thing is inflation. They say that it won't cause inflation because money is already in the market. But the problem is that the money of the rich is originally in like stock markets and luxury markets. When you tax the rich and give it to the poor, the money goes into the lively goods market. So the lively goods will get more expensive for those people in need. And by only giving them 10,000, those people in need will not be able to afford lively goods to survive. So we would like you to tell us how you get enough money, and also tell us about your other points. Yes?
Time. Okay. Crossfire, second round, 3 minutes. Do you need prep time? Or you can just go? Okay.
Okay, so can I go first?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm aware that we actually talk about the current tax rate is 13%, not 30%.
13%.
Yeah, we're talking about 13%.
How are you going to increase it to 36%?
Well, we're going to increase it to 30%, and as we just mentioned, we'll establish a wealth tax.
So you're only taxing the wealth, only taxing the wealthy.
We're taxing the people owning, for owning stuff like stock, real estate, or bonds.
Then the people who are wealthy will just immigrate out of Taiwan and move all their money out of Taiwan. Then you will not have a stable tax rate once they move away, because here we have evidence saying like France's richest men moved out, and then the reform clearly damaged France's reputation. So if you add a bunch of wealth tax if you only tax the wealth to get the 3 trillion, the wealth will have to pay a lot of money, and they don't want to pay the money, so they will move to like other countries with lower tax rates. So you can't sufficiently get the amount of money. You can only get the money for the first time. And then once the wealth leave, they're not even in Taiwan. You can't even get.
So why do you think that it's that easy for the rich to just move all their assets to other countries?
It's easy to immigrate. Like you can just sell your houses and just pay money and just immigrate to another country. Like in the modern day, like immigrating isn't even that hard because it's because of globalization, because of because it's easy to get plane tickets. Because other countries are welcoming the wealthy countries best.
So you mean that the rich will just abolish their Taiwanese nationality and go for another country?
Of course. You see, so in our evidence, the France's richest man
how many of the French riches?
You see, like for example, there are 2, but there are more people who abolish their.
You only mentioned 2, but if the amount of rich that goes out to another country is not that much, then how is the harm significant?
You see. In Greece, they increased the tax rate, and 23% plan to move out of Greece due to cash flow. So because
23% they plan to do that, but are they planning to go out to another country? Are they abandoning their nationality?
Yes.
Or are they?
No. If the company is not in Greece, you can't tax them because it's technically impossible. They're not even in Greece. How are you going to tax them?
Yeah, but it's owned by that person.
But their headquarters is not in Greece. So
technically
technically, their whole company might be based in like Belgrade or France. It's technically not even in Greece. So the whole company is owned by a French corporation. The Greek people can't even tax the French corporation because it's owned by France, not Greece.
So you think that it's easy for just move an entire company to another country? You think that it's easy to do?
Why is it hard? You don't need to move everything. You just need to move the headquarters.
So why don't people just move?
No extra time for crossfire. Summary.
Okay.
Side pro. Do you need prep time?
3 minutes. Then.
Just tell us to stop.
然后就是说，其实申请这过程不只是他问题不是一个，就是有些人不知道自己申请，感觉照这个，照这个，哎，然后再就是张过面，把另外一份挂掉。他说为什么不要？为什么要去那个申请？就是申请还有什么福利实务之类的。所以申请的这个问题不是出在有些人不会，然后减少贫富差距。我们刚刚的数据会让48个高于90都卡单。然后为什么要求这个教育？那它只是 UBI 的其中一种反面，它就是我们不是实行 UBI 为了这件事情，它是其中一个 benefit。为什么不要直接给有钱人？我们只是为了政策的简易性，而且它是一个社会安全，所以它应该是 forever。这是两个
Okay.
So how many times do we have?
You
left?
have around 55 seconds. 55 seconds. Yeah. I'm gonna keep timing if you don't go up and talk. Do you want to use it, or do you want to go up and talk?
We'll keep using it.
Okay. So summary.
We did honorable judges and panel debaters. This is the community side speaking. We didn't mention about to cut off the healthcare and this is and also the negative side also mentioned that why we don't why we just why we just don't get don't ignore those wealth person because the UBI is a social security net, so everyone should receive it equally. Okay, so the last the wealth move their companies out of the country. If that's really that easy, why now there is no one doing so? And if they can now they can all move to the low tax country, but why they are not doing it now? Okay, this is our speech, and thank you.
So I pause. You want to use that time?
Okay.
Okay. Tell me when to stop.
因为现在台湾的税率相对其他国家的税率，但是从13到636趴收跟其他国家的价值，但是你要看那个人才或者税率或者其他东西，大家就不会觉得台湾是一个有税务设置的地方。大家就是遗憾，至少我们在法国或者其他地方提到的，所以这方面的话，这样他们有一个稳定的税收，就是他们第一层没有钱，他们第一层他们就是没有钱，但是就算他们有钱，那 inflation 还是会导致日用品上升，1万块已经不够以支撑一个基本生活的，更何况有 inflation。那现在就是，好，你就认为你觉得要减少贫富差距，那我们可以课税，然后把它全部 upgrade 对，然后就是这样。
Okay, our president is. summary will start now. So the opposing side said that they want to. The opposing side said it in their first constructive. They say that the current system is excluding homeless people, but we haven't even seen the evidence yet. Like why do they exclude homeless people, and what's the flaws of it, and what's the differences between Taiwan system and the UK system that you told in the constructive. And you guys mentioned no matter from excluding homeless people or the problem now is the wealth gap, or to ensure everybody's working environment. And our rebuttal says that ask a question, and you haven't replied yet. He said that why can't we solve it by upgrading our welfare? We can upgrading our welfare and put it into like helping others to get a better working environment, get a better job, get a better professions, get a better professional techniques. No matter what, it'll be a better world than implementing a UBI because you guys said that you're gonna better place for UBI because in our first constructive we said that it's inefficient to give money to the rich because they don't really need it, and you guys haven't replied yet because. And the next one is, you said that you're not cutting the healthcare, and I have a question that, what welfare system are you going to cut? Because you said in their first argument, and you said that you're going to surtax from 13% to 30%, but in our previous rebuttal, crossfire, we already proved that the current, if you raise the tax from 13% to 30%, the total amount of budget won't be enough. And the opposing side said that the company won't move out of the country, and they asked a question why they don't do it so, because that's really easy because we haven't implemented UBI right now. Now we have we have evidence from no matter from Greece, no matter from France. It shows that if you raise the tax, it will lead to the richest moving out. So that leads to decrease the economy. So let's make a summary. So the opposing side didn't really solve the budget problems. So they don't have enough funds to implement a UBI. So and they're not really sure about how much healthcare system are they going to cut, and if upgrading this welfare system, if upgrading the current welfare system, the problem will be solved right now. So they didn't answer the question.
Time. Yes, time.
Time.
Yes. We ran crossfire. Anyone can ask a question now. It's open.
Should we send up?
Just
Okay. So I will ask the current tax that Taiwan is collecting is 3 trillion, and if doubling that, then that's another 3 trillion, and that's the budget for it.
No, you said you want to raise from 13% to 30%. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So
that's doubling it.
13% to 30%.
13 to 30.
13 to 30.
Oh,
Yeah.
13 to 30.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, but you still cannot prove that you can have a stable, sufficient income because the wealthy will move out, and the companies will also move out. As proven.
As we just mentioned, the company moving out. Why are they not doing that? Because there are currently now some countries, some places that has 0 tax rates. Why don't they just move their company?
No, they're doing this because Taiwan has relatively low tax rates and also has the good employees, so that the employees can create value. But if you increase the tax rates to around like European countries, they would rather go to European countries who have better employees, or go to
So you think that it's easy for a company just move their
yes.
move their
TSMC just moved to America.
So you're saying that